"You are rock, and on this rock I will build my church." Today, we celebrate the solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul, the two pillars of early Christianity. We read in today's Gospel passage that when Jesus went into the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asks his disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" And Simon the apostle answers, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." And we know the reply that Jesus gives, that infamous sentence, "And I tell you, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Dear brothers and sisters, to understand the true significance of what Jesus says regarding Simon Peter, we need to look a little closer at two things. First, the specific words that Jesus uses, and second, the place or location in which Jesus says these words. In the passage, we see that Jesus gives a new name to Simon and calls him Peter. Now, this change of name from Simon to Peter may not seem like such a remarkable thing, but in reality, Jesus is doing something tremendously significant. Why is that? Because Peter means rock. The name Peter comes from the Greek word Petros, which means rock. So when Jesus says to Simon, "You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church," he is in reality saying, "You are rock, and on this rock I will build my church." This is why in John chapter 1 verse 42, Jesus says to Simon the first time that he meets him, "You are Simon, son of John. You will be called Cephas," which is the Aramaic word for rock. Another thing which we read in today's passage is that Jesus says these words about Simon Peter when they reached the region of Caesarea Philippi. Jesus' mission was twofold. Firstly, to go through Israel preaching the good news of God's salvation to the Jews first. This good news would later be preached by his disciples to the rest of the world outside of Israel. And secondly, to bring this salvation to the world by dying on the cross in Jerusalem for the sins of the world. So if Jesus' mission was to preach to Israelites, to the Jewish people, and after this to die on the cross in Jerusalem, why did he take his disciples and go to Caesarea Philippi, a non-Jewish territory outside of Israel and in the direction opposite to Jerusalem? Because in Caesarea Philippi there is a giant rock. It is in this location, in the presence of this giant rock formation, that Jesus said to Peter, "You are rock, and on this rock I will build my church." In Matthew chapter 7 verse 24, Jesus tells the parable of the wise man who built his house upon the rock. The rain and the floods came, but the house stood firm, for it was built on rock. Dear brothers and sisters, Jesus is that wise man who built the Catholic Church on the sure foundation of Saint Peter and his successors, the popes. To make this clear to us, he called Simon the rock. Therefore, we can be certain that the Catholic Church will never fall or fail or lead us into error, no matter how great the floods and rain of persecutions and trials may be. Whenever we are in doubt or are uncertain, we can always rely safely on the teachings of the Catholic Church to teach us the faith and to lead us to eternal safety. For the Church was not built by man, but by God, and it was built on a rock.